Hey all, my name is Paul Borosky and I am the owner of Quality Business Plan, and what I'd like to do today is to give you all some tips and tricks on how to complete our traditional questionnaire for our traditional business plan. So the way the video is going to work out is, first and foremost, I'm going to go ahead and give you all some important notes or some highlights of what to keep in mind when you're going through and filling out the traditional questionnaire. Once we're done with that, we're then going to go ahead and zip through the traditional questionnaire that I do provide to my customers once they make their initial business plan deposit. And we'll go through the questionnaire, and once we're done, we'll call it a day. All right, so hopefully this information is going to be helpful when y'all are going through your traditional questionnaire and in need of some tips and tricks. All right. So important notes as promised. First and foremost, you do not need to complete every question on the traditional questionnaire. If you're going through the traditional questionnaire and there is something that you don't know, skip it. You're not being graded on the project. Once you're done, send it back to me. We'll go through it. All the questions that you skipped, we'll cover in the initial meeting. So keep that in mind. Can't stress that enough. When you're going through the questionnaire, if you don't know something, skip it and go to the next question. All right, next is going to be the startup cost. So there's a few different strategies that some of my clients use when they do their startup cost or their expansion cost for the business. They may do the research before they do the questionnaire. So before you fill out the questionnaire, they go out to do the research, the startup cost for the build out, the working capital and the equipment. And they do all that research before they fill out the questionnaire. And once they get all that research done, then they'll go ahead and do the questionnaire. Or after the questionnaire. So they'll fill out all the questionnaire and then they'll put some budgets in there for their startup costs, what they want to keep in for their budgets. And after they're done doing the budgets for the startup costs, they'll then go out research, make sure those budgets are in line. Regardless of which strategy that you choose, make sure to complete the questionnaire or at least have an idea of what your startup costs are going to be before you make your final payment. Once the final payment's made for the business plan, by golly, you're getting a business plan based on the information I have. So just keep that in mind. And then finally, for the questionnaire, when you're done with it, email it back to my email address, paulb@qualitybusinessplan.com. All right, enough for the important notes. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of the traditional business plan questionnaire. So for this questionnaire, this is what it's going to look like when you get it. It's not going to be completed. That's the whole point of this video. But when you get it, here's a little statement. It's telling you this is a traditional, and it will say traditional. I will update that. I've changed the name from intermediate to traditional. Traditional. So this will say traditional business plan. This is a questionnaire for the traditional business plan. And then right here is going to be a link to this video. Obviously, this link right here is not correct because I'm doing the video right now to show you how to do the questionnaire. But when you get this template, right, when you get the questionnaire, this link right here will go right to this video. This link also will take you to this video for the tips and tricks. All right, so question number one, company name, pretty straightforward. Whatever your company name is, just type it right here. If you're not sure what the company name is going to be, give me your leading contender. What do you think it's going to be? One of the easiest things for me to do in the business plan is to change the company name. So if you're not sure about it, just let me know this is a leading contender, and just give me who's the leader or the business name for the leading contender for the business name. Next is going to be company address. Pretty straightforward what the company address is. If it's a home office, just give me city and state. For example, if you're a trucker and you're doing a home office and your home office is going to be in Orlando, Florida, so that's fine. But if you're going to have a retail store or an office space, that's a commercial office space, give me the address. Email address, wherever you want me to send this business plan to, make sure to put the email address right here. Phone number, whatever your number is. And then text messages, if you can get text messages, just say yes, and we'll go from there. Question 5, business owners. List all the owners, and no need to say percentages. Jimmy Joe has 50%, and Sidney Thomas has 40%. I don't need the percentages, just need the names of the owners. So legal structure is your organization could be a sole proprietor, limited liability company, corporation, partnership, whatever it's going to be. Just highlight it or just tell me yes next to the structure. Question 7, describe your company. This is the way that I usually break it down is primary services, then all secondary services. So, for example, as a professional business plan writer, my primary service provided is writing business plans. So I would put that. If I'm a home repair person, I might specialize in flooring, and so my primary service provider would be flooring. So whatever your main revenue generator is, make sure you put that, and then list all your secondary revenue generators. An example of this would be, I also do business plan consulting, business plan templates, strategic plans, and financial projections. So those are my secondary services that I offer, but my main gig is the business plan writing. So that's how you would structure that portion right there, is what is the main revenue generator, and then the secondary things that you're going to be selling. Next is going to be, who is your target market? So, if you are a convenience store, your target market may be residents, within a 5 square mile or 10 square mile radius of your convenience store. If you're a hairstylist, then you may work with young ladies between 18 to 35. So whoever your target market is, make sure to give me some thoughts and ideas about that aspect as well. Competitive advantages, what do you do better than everybody else? For a lawn care service, you might target one subdivision mainly, and you specialize in that subdivision. You might have 15 homes out of the 500 homes in there. You specialize in that, so you do a lot of services in that one area, so you're a specialist. If you're a business consultant, maybe you specialize in helping restaurants startup restaurants, get going. So your specialty is going to be restaurant owners, helping restaurant owners start up. So whatever your competitive advantages. For myself, my competitive advantages is when you call my phone number, I answer the phone, or I call you back as soon as humanly possible. Whereas a lot of my competitors, you're not going to get that service. They're going to ask you to send you a message, and then 2 to 5 days later, you'll finally get a message back or a phone call or something. Also, my turnaround time is lickety split. Some restaurants, for a competitive advantage for another restaurant would be maybe they do delivery. So whatever you do differently or whatever you do better than your competition is going to be what you're going to drill on there. Location, if it's a home office, just specifically state home office. No need to go into great details with that. If it's a retail storefront, tell me about the parking. Tell me how close you are to the major thoroughfares. Tell me how close you are to some subdivisions. What's the size of your retail? Is it 5,000 square feet, 3,000 square feet? Do you have plenty of parking? So give me some descriptions of your facility in this section right here. Future plans. So for the future plans, talk to me about where you're going to be in the future. You might be starting up a restaurant here, but you might be expanding to 2 more restaurants in the region or throughout the state in 5 years. You might sell retail clothing, men's retail clothing or children's clothing, and then you also design logos and you have an embroiderer who will put that information on custom shirts. Whatever your future plans are going to be, give me some discussions onto that topic as well. Hours of operation, pretty straightforward. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. or whatever your hours are. Just make sure to give me that information. Employees, when you're talking about employees, make sure you include yourself. An example of this would be employees from my company is one, it's me, CEO/business plan writer. If it is a pest control company, you might have 4 employees, the CEO. You might have an office manager and then 2 technicians. Whatever it is, if you have more than, however many employees you have, make sure to list them. Another example would be chef and then full-time, because my second question here is a full-time or part-time. And then my third question is going to be hourly pay. So the way to lump all these into one would be a chef, full-time, $25 an hour, or cashier, part-time, $10 an hour. So that's a great way to answer each one of these lickety-split. Next is the SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for your organization. When you're doing your strengths, focus on the interior of your organization. What do you have going for you inside the business? An example of this is maybe you have 15 years industry experience. Also, you might want to go ahead and say that you've got documented, you might have documented strategic plans. So, maybe you've worked with my company and we've got some strategic plans to help you go from where you are now to where you want to be. And so that would be your documented strategic plans, and that's going to be a strength for your organization. You might have a wide selection of products that you're offering where other companies are not offering as wide of a selection of products. You might have custom designs. So those are some of the ideas for strengths that are focused inside your company. Weaknesses for your organization, I tell my clients, make sure to go broad and don't get really personal with your weaknesses. An example of broad and general knowledge for a weakness is as a startup company. Yes, when you're starting up, your organization is going to be a weakness. Everybody knows it. It's not a secret, so let's use it. Another is going to be as if you work in the restaurant industry, there's high turnover in that industry. Common knowledge, not a problem to list it. If you're going to be if you're looking at some places that are a little bit less expensive for rent and it's off the beaten path, that's maybe a weakness, but we're not going to want to discuss that in this section because it's a little too personal. And not only that, but it could also change as well. You might not go with that location. So don't get too personal on what your weakness is. Stay general, stay broad. Next is going to be your opportunities. What are some opportunities to grow your business or to expand your business, or what are some opportunities in general in your exterior environment? Some opportunities may be community events. Maybe there's some pop-up shops that you're going to participate in, or maybe you're going to expand into a new clothing line. Whatever the opportunities are, go ahead and list those. And then threats, again, keep it general, keep it broad. Every business out there, a threat's going to be competitors. It might be the industry economy going into a recession. That's going to impact everybody. It's not personal, so go with those types of threats. Question 15, industry. What industry are you going to compete in? I do use IBIS World for my industry research. So if you give me an idea, for example, casual dining, then I'm going to align that with the research that is available to me. So if you want to skip this question, that's fine. If you want to give me an idea as to which direction to go to, that's fine as well. Organizational structure. Again, I'm going to repeat some questions. And the reason I repeat the questions is that as I'm writing your business plan, I do go right through this questionnaire, and for each section that I'm writing, I'll have your questionnaire right next to me, and I'm just going to go right through it. I'll look at the information there, and then I'll write it up. Look at your information and write it up. If you do answer the questions in duplicate like this, it saves me time from searching the document for the information. So just, again, owner name, address, positions, and if you have a resume for the traditional plan, if you got a resume, send it over to me as long as it's in a Word document. You send it to me in a PDF, I'm going to say thank you very much. However, if you can go ahead and put it into a Word document for me, that would be scrumdiddlyumptious. I do need it in a Word document because I do copy and paste it to put it into the business plan. I might do some minor formatting, so just keep that in mind. If you want me to use your resume, Word document, scrumdiddlyumptious. Thank you. All right, next is going to be advertising. So when you're doing some advertising, I'm looking for like 4 or 5 ideas, 4 or 5 of the main ideas of what you're going to be doing for advertising, because let's be honest, you only have a certain amount of time in the day, and it's very difficult to even do 4 or 5 avenues for advertising well. If you start putting 15 or 16 or 20 different ideas for advertising, then it's just too much. There's no way you're going to be able to do that and maintain a solid message and be consistent with it. So I do ask for 4 or 5 ideas. Networking, maybe a chamber of commerce. For traditional advertising, you might do word of mouth. For social media, you might do Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. For your website, you might have a website. You might have a Facebook page that has all your information. So whatever your advertising ideas are, give me some thoughts and ideas here. Next is going to be the startup cost. How much money do you need in total to get this party started? Whatever the total amount of funding you need, go ahead and list that here. We are then going to break up that funding into equity. How much money are you putting into the project, and how much money are you going to borrow? So for this example, I need $150,000 for a startup cost. I'm going to throw $50,000 of my money at it, and then I'm going to borrow the rest, $100,000. So that's how it's broken up total amount of money for funding, or total amount of money for expansion, or total amount of money for startup, and then how much are you putting into it, and how much are you going to borrow. Now, if you're going to invest $150,000 out of your own pocket, well, it's going to be $150,000 here and zero here. But you do want this to average, add up to 50 plus the 100. You do want both of these categories to add up to your total funding. This section right here, we're now getting into the financial projections. If you don't understand some of these questions or all these questions, not a problem. Stop right here, send this form over to me, and then I'll walk you through this information when we're on the phone in our initial meeting. So just keep that in mind. I'll prod you with some questions to pull out the information if you don't understand this. All right, so the way this works out is we got the revenues right here. The average customer transaction dollar amount estimated. What I mean by this is if you're a restaurant and a customer walks in and they sit down at your at a table and they order an entree, a drink, a side, and a dessert, it comes out to $45. Well, an average customer transaction would be $45. So whatever the average customer is, you might be a pool installer and your average customer transaction could be $45,000. So whatever the average customer transaction is, put right here. Variable cost is how much does it cost you to provide that service. So if you are a pool contractor and you sell a pool on average $45,000, well, your variable cost may be $15,000. So whatever it costs you to provide that service, make sure to put it right here. If you want to go with a percentage, a lot of restaurants do. Maybe again, it's a $45 average customer ticket, and then your variable cost might be 35%. So you can go with a dollar amount, or you can go with a percentage, whatever makes you happy, whatever best aligns with how you understand it. Next is going to be how many customers are you going to be servicing in a daily basis. If you're a pool contractor, you might be doing one customer a week. And so just tell me right here, one customer per week. If you are a restaurant, you might be serving 50 customers a day. So if it's daily, then put the number of customers daily. If it's weekly, then tell me how many customers you're going to do per week, one per week. And then I'll know to change the financial model to weekly instead of daily. Number of days open per week. Are you operating Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday, Tuesday through Sunday, 7 days a week? If it's 7 days, put 7, 5, put 5, and so on. Next is going to be the salary for all the owners. So how much the owners and the executive team, how much are they going to make on a monthly basis? Whatever it is, put it right here. Number of employees. How many employees are you going to be working with? So if you're going to have 5 employees, 2 chefs, 1 prep, and then a server, whatever it's going to break down to, tell me your number of employees. The average pay for the employees, go ahead and tell me what that is right here. And then for how many employees are part-time and full-time. Again, if it's an employee, same information as we had above. Earlier, if you've got 3 cashiers, 2 of them are full-time, 1 is part-time, well, let me know right here. Next is going to be our categories for startup costs. So our startup cost we identified is $150,000 right here. So we're going to break that $150,000 into these categories. So your money can be spent in build out, working capital. The working capital, this is the money once you start up day one, how much money do you want to have in your checking account to hold you over until you start getting some money in the door? That is your working capital. So make sure you have some working capital. You don't want to show your business plan as 0 working capital. That tells whoever's reading it that you're going to have absolutely no money once you start up. So make sure you have some working capital. That's important. So your build out, when you're going to go in, if it's a retail store, how much money you're going to put in for the flooring, the decor, the shelving, anything like that, the signage up front. That's going to be your build out, your equipment, furniture and decor, advertising, inventory, general supplies, office equipment, licenses, and other. And anything that's not listed here, that if you've got like a lot of small categories, and you want to just list them as other, that's fine. If you want to add categories to this, that's fine as well, as long as you don't go into too many categories. If you give me 50 categories, I'm going to come back and ask you to go ahead and recategorize those into a little bit more general terms for me. So these are some really good, solid, basic categories to use. But if your industry, your business requires different ones, that's fine. Just add them here. Next, it could be monthly fixed costs. These line items here cannot be changed. Lease payments, if you have a lease payment, if you're doing a home office, your lease payment is 0, put it 0. If you do have a lease payment, whatever it is, put it here. Utilities, your gas, your water, your cell phone, your smartphone, your internet, whatever, all of those are going to be your utilities. Go ahead, put that here. Office expenses, that's going to be your print cartridges. That's going to be your paper you're going to print for your receipts. Whatever your office expenses are, put that here. Staples for staplers. Insurance, all your insurance, whatever your insurance needs are going to be, put it here. Accounting and legal, whatever you want to budget for that, put it here. Advertising costs, however much money you want to put for advertising, put it here. And then your catch-all, everything that's not listed up here, and you're going to pay on a monthly basis, make sure to add it together and put it right here. And then finally, this question right here is how much money do you want to have in your pocket after year one? So you start your business today and you go a whole year and you're doing well and your business is growing and you've paid all your employees, you paid your inventory, you paid your cost of goods, you paid your taxes, you've paid all your rent, your utilities, you've paid all your money, you've paid yourself. After everything is paid, how much money do you want to have as a net income? Whatever that number is that your thoughts and ideas are, make sure to document it and put that here. All right, so hopefully this information was helpful and gives you some ideas and some tips and tricks onto completing the traditional business plan. And then finally, in parting, I can't stress this enough. If there is a question or 2 or 10 questions in here that you don't know or you want to go ahead and have a discussion about with me, skip that question, move on to the next. If it takes you more than a half hour to fill out this questionnaire, it's probably taking you too long. So hopefully this information is helpful. And as always, once you're done with it, email it back to me and we'll be off to the races. Thank you.